Seeing that Microsoft's latest post, they're all talking about games as a service. I can't deal with this shit anymore. I can't deal with it anymore. I'm done with games. I'm giving up with life and everything I say. The conspiracy theory, I have no proof for any of it, but I'm pretty upset about it all. I'm just really upset about all this shit. I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm staying here for a little while. Why, howdy there, neighbor. Today we're talking about the end of the world, aka anything to do with Xbox. And if you're confused, well, join the club, because apparently it's just the thing that's happening right now. So I guess in a way, this whole thing started because Microsoft felt like they had to let people know, hey, this is our plan, our vision, if you will. And hey, wouldn't you know, drama queens read it and said, hey, I can't read. So when they couldn't read it, they took it to their friend Billy, and Billy couldn't read either. So I guess they just said, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to assume the worst. So you know what, I've decided to go ahead and run through this to tell you guys what was actually said and to interpret it as such. And if you disagree with my interpretation, please let me know why down below. You know what, that's perfectly fine. We'll see some very emotional people in the comments. Those are the guys you really got to watch out for, right? And then you'll see the logical guys that are really thinking about this type of stuff. What does this mean? What are they doing? Where are they approaching this from? Just let me know what you guys think down below as we go through this. So let's start both at the beginning and in a way that offers context to those out of the loop. Phil Spencer, the old head of Xbox, was promoted to head of all gaming at Microsoft. All games go through Phil at Microsoft. Windows 10, Xbox, mobile, all of those things. Now, Matt Booty was given Phil Spencer's old job as head of Xbox. Now, all of this came from a recent interview with Matt Booty as he tried to give insight to Microsoft's future plans, their approach, and the things they are hoping to pull off here. So I will paraphrase this, but I will link it all down below for you to read yourself. Let's begin with the conversation. So Matt begins by saying there will always be single-player games at Microsoft that have 20 to 30 hours of gameplay. There is a place for them there, and they love those types of games. He follows that up by saying it's also very important for longevity. Looking at the streaming numbers, things like esports, those things are important as well. Now, this is probably the part where the conspiracy theories' heads caught on fire. He says it's really difficult for anyone to invest in a AAA game these days without having some kind of multi-year roadmap in place, meaning content updates, longevity. You've got to have fans engaging with this title for years for it to really pay off in the big for these companies. Now, this could mean microtransactions, which is already happening in every single game, and it definitely means some kind of DLC expansions format, like Assassin's Creed, for instance. You have several DLC expansions that extend the longevity of this massive 100-hour story game that took these companies 4 to 5 years to make. It makes perfect sense to want to offer more content at an increased return to make more money back on that title. This has been happening for over 10 years now. This is the thing. This is nothing new. Now, he references those 20 and 30-hour single-player experiences for a reason towards the beginning, because they can also be built to spur engagement as well. Now, some of you guys just scratched your head thinking, what? Single-player games, engagement, what? Yeah, why do you think Last of Us and Uncharted 4 had multiplayer? Just because you got a fantastic single-player game on your hands does not mean that they do not come with some kind of multiplayer, microtransactions, DLC, etc. So just to wrap that portion up, he says none of this is taking away from what people like to call single-player narrative. Like I said, great single-player games have DLC, they have microtransactions, they have multiplayer. We've seen this in the past. Some of the best single-player games of all time have multiplayer and microtransactions. Now, do I prefer microtransactions in my single-player games? Do I prefer tacked-on multiplayer? Not at all. But did a ton of people enjoy The Last of Us and then go play that multiplayer and enjoy it while buying those microtransactions? Yes, they did. And that's just the reality of the situation. So I don't agree with that practice, but it is possible to craft a narrative experience and then have a multiplayer portion as well that will drive engagement, longevity, streaming, all of those things he's mentioning. Now, out of all of this, I find the next portion the most concerning. This is the part where Matt talks about the strength of their first-party IPs. Keep in mind they have four billion-dollar franchises. Halo, Gears, Forza, and Minecraft, all worth well over $1 billion at this point. He says that makes it easier for them to take risks with these franchises. Now some of you are like, what do you mean take risks with? Well, risks. Try new things. Maybe move them to different genres. There's a reason that I've told you guys several times on this channel that you're going to see a Gears of War spin-off game this year that is not a third-person game, that is not a traditional Gears of War game. We're guessing it's a strategy game. Do I like that? Do I think that's a great idea? No, and that's why I think this is a little bit alarming. Some of you guys will not believe me until you see it unveiled at E3, but mark my words, it is happening. There will be a Gears spin-off game this year, and some of you guys are going to be really disappointed to see what it is. But to make up for it, they may then show you that Gears of War 5 CGI trailer or something to that effect. Now, does that mean it's going to be trash or you're going to hate it no matter what? No, not at all. This is just my opinion. Keep that in mind. Some people may very well like what they are going to show. But until I get my hands on it, I figure out what it is, I'm going to reserve a judgment here. So just to wrap this up, the Gears of War spinoff you are going to see this year at E3 is exactly what he's talking about when he means take more risks with their big IPs. There is another quote in this article that I'm going to link in the description where he references Black Ops 4 and its lack of a single-player campaign as an example of how games may not resemble their predecessors. Now, some of you guys will look at this and say, good, I'm looking for them to finally change up Gears or Halo. And some of you guys will say, oh my god, that means there's not going to be any single player in the next Halo. That's absolutely ridiculous. He just got done talking about the value of single player. So it kind of supersedes everything that comes after. So keep that in mind. There's a reason he started with that. It's important. There's a reason they also just opened up a new studio in Santa Monica, California, where they're going to be making games with budgets exceeding $100 million. There's clearly a lot going on here, and I think people have given Microsoft a great reason not to be as transparent anymore. They freak out because Microsoft said, hey, guess what? We're still investing in 20 to 30 hour campaigns. We're still doing single player, but we also recognize that multiplayer, DLC, microtransactions are a thing. We're looking at trends. We're trying to figure out how to keep people engaged longer. We're trying to figure out the trends just like everyone else. Name a publisher, developer who's not trying to do the same thing. They're trying to do at least one of those things. And as big as Microsoft are, as many studios as they have, more coming soon apparently, of course they are looking into all this. Just like Ubisoft, just like Activision, just like EA, just like Bethesda, and yes, believe it or not, just like Sony. I just found it funny that when trying to get rid of the drama surrounding their first party, their outlook, their onset, their strategy, they created more drama. I just think it's getting ridiculous. So, once again, guys, let me know what you think down below. Is it really that big of a deal? Or maybe, am I looking at this from the wrong perspective, the wrong angle? Read the article down below in the description. Check out the other links as well. If you like what I do here, consider becoming a patron. Plenty of great tiers and rewards, game giveaways, and more there. So this is the part of the video where I ask you to hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video, if you agree with the message. If you just want to support the content, the like button helps a lot. If you got a second, you want to share this with a buddy, that'd be awesome. And of course, subscribe for more stuff like this. I upload pretty often, and we do a weekly podcast called RDX Podcast. A podcast really centered around Xbox, but we do cover pretty much any major event in the gaming world. It's a good listen. I'll link the last one down below. And as always, guys, I appreciate the support. Thank you so much. I'm Dealer. I'm out. Seeing that Microsoft's latest post, they're all talking about games as a service. I can't deal with this shit anymore. I can't deal with it anymore. I'm done with games. I'm giving up with life and everything I say. The conspiracy theory, I have no proof for any of it, but I'm pretty upset about it all. I'm just really upset about all this shit. I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm staying here for a little while.
It must be hard being a man, too. this world just drops a bunch of